Jamaica.
But mums, you don't care watch it on CVM website, man.
Greatness begins here.
Man been legendary, tell them nothing about the base ordinary. Don't size up with CVM, you know ready. Them not in my category. Listen, man, this is Bay C, and you're in tune to CVM. See it happen.
Need to estimate your duty? Perform a track and trace? Search for a declaration?
Then download the Jamaica Customs mobile app today. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 12.
Thanks for joining us for CVM News at noon. It's Tuesday, October 14, 2025. I'm Amoy Harriet. Up first this afternoon, there is mounting frustration among public sector workers with little progress on wage demands. A meeting with officials from the Ministry of Finance and several unions last Friday has done little to allay the concerns. Speaking on CVM's lead story last evening, President of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, Dr. Renee Badro, called for the new overtime rate to be paid to doctors, lamenting that the current rate is from 2022 and doctors island-wide are constantly overworked.
Time is mandatory for doctors. We don't have enough doctors in the system to be able to staff the system for 24 hours. So doctors have to work overtime so that if you come in at like say 6 o'clock in the evening or even 2 o'clock in the morning, there's a doctor there to see you. So that's because we have to do overtime. You can't expect to pay the doctor that covers more than one hospital, has to move from Bustamante, move to KPH, move to Hope Institute, have to go to all the way up Sir John Golden Rehabilitation Center.
Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Civil Service Association, Tisha Clark Griffiths, says government's 0% offer in year one remains a non-starter for the 30,000 public sector workers she represents.
The information that was shared, but the meeting that was called last Friday was for information purposes. And the commissioner, the fiscal commissioner's presentation is more to temper the expectation of the trade.
Opposition leader Mark Golding says the PNP has signaled its commitment to anti-corruption after all the members of his shadow cabinet signed the Leadership Code of Conduct. Mr. Golding says this underscores the need for leaders to operate with integrity, openness and honesty in carrying out their duties to the country. Now, these principles, Mr. Golding says, reflect the highest standards of ethical conduct expected of public officials.
On Monday, at the meeting of the shadow cabinet, our spokespersons signed the Leadership Code of Conduct, a document originally developed by the Integrity Commission and embodying the 7 principles of public life. Those principles are based on the values of integrity, accountability, and transparency. I think it's very important in Jamaica today that our leaders publicly demonstrate their commitment to those values so that the people can have trust and confidence in the leaders of the country.
Now, the Integrity Commission was implemented to combat corruption and diffuse attempts by elected officials to exploit their posts. A high-powered submachine gun and ammunition were seized this morning in the St. Andrews South Police Division. Reports are that around 6:10 a.m., a team of detectives from the Hunts Bay Criminal Investigations Branch conducted an operation at an open lot near the Oak Glaze Health Center in Kingston. During a search of the area, the police team uncovered a Mac 11 9mm submachine gun loaded with a magazine containing 2 live rounds concealed inside an old refrigerator. Now, no arrest was made in connection with the seizure. Investigations are ongoing. As Jamaica continues to grapple with persistent crime and security challenges, new police data is revealing shifting trends across several divisions. Human rights advocates are raising concerns about developments in the justice system and recent legislative measures aimed at tackling crime. Amari Wilson tells us more.
It's been a year of mixed outcomes in Jamaica's fight against crime. Police reports indicate that while certain offences are on the decline, others continue to test the country's law enforcement efforts. Authorities say ongoing operations and community partnerships have contributed to progress, but to sustain those gains, consistency and public operations will be a necessity. According to Police Sergeant Adrian Fleming, comparative data between 2024 and 2025 reveals changes in crime patterns in Clarendon.
Clarendon Parish has been doing fairly well as it relates to major crimes. We are seeing an 18% reduction in overall major crimes. We are seeing murders down by 46%. We are seeing that we have a reduction also in rape. Rape is down by 45% and shootings down by 39%, and that's up to this point in comparison to last year.
But as the police work to contain crime, human rights advocates are raising questions about how the justice system treats offenders, particularly under new sentencing law. Mikhail Jackson, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, weighed in on the mandatory minimum sentencing law.
Mandatory minimums in and of themselves are not unconstitutional. It's when it is manifestly excessive now, then you could get a certificate to go before the Court of Appeal to perhaps hope that the court would then reduce your sentence. So while we can't necessarily challenge that in constitutional court, and maybe it's something to look at, however, I think collective advocacy and citizens being aware of the injustice in that law, and just a law that really makes no sense, needs to be revised. I think our collective voice, our action to Parliament to say, you represent us, listen to the people, and ensure that when you pass laws, quite frankly, that the laws make sense. The Firearms Act and the government's general thrust towards mandatory minimum sentence, it's wrong. And I believe that the law must balance justice and ensure that injustice is not unintentionally seen or is the end result of maybe a well-intended act from Parliament, because we all want to see the crime rate reduced.
Jackson also highlighted a case in which JFJ was directly involved, one that raised broader questions about equity and fairness.
Another thing that jumped out at me, and you saw that in Jamar Farquharson matter, is where the police interfered with the CCTV camera. In fact, there's a case that JFJ signed a retainer for last week, where the family indicated that the police officers upon entry pulled down the wires for the CCTV camera. That's unlawful. They ought to desist, and we call on the police command to ensure that he speaks publicly against these particular matters.
Omari Wilson reports for CVM News.
An appeal this afternoon for stronger training and safety oversight for bus and taxi drivers who transport students. The call comes in the wake of two recent road crashes involving students. Now, in the first incident, which happened on September 23 along the Gordontown Main Road in Kingston, 21 students were injured after the bus they were traveling in overturned. A week later, a group of 29 Knox College students were also left shaken after the coaster bus they were aboard veered off the Content to Williamsfield Main Road in Manchester. Now, President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, Edgerton Newman, says the incidents also highlight the urgent need for more stringent inspections of the vehicles some drivers use.
75% of our vehicles as public passenger vehicles should be off the street. Varied type of defects are on those vehicles. We are not importing and using the proper vehicle to carry children, to carry passengers on a whole. And we are very concerned. Just about 2 weeks before the election, we spoke with the Prime Minister at length about things like these. He promised to make a loan facility, a loan window for us so we can upgrade our fleet. No, this is not in place.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation marked World Homeless Day and World Mental Health Day with a joint observance at St. William Grant Park on Thursday. Now, Minister of Local Government Desmond McKenzie and Mayor Andrew Swaby attended the event, which aimed to raise awareness and connect vulnerable residents with support and resources. Mayor Swaby spoke with our news team.
There are many people in Jamaica who suffer from mental health and are ashamed to say that. In terms of homelessness, these are some persons who are the most vulnerable among us. They are left on the streets. Some of them are in our homes, and we are trying to take up care of them. That has been a focus of mine since I've become mayor. Before I was mayor, but being in mayor now, I'm in a position where I can effect some change.
Meanwhile, helping to raise awareness, dancehall entertainer Ricky Tees delivered food and clothing to dozens of homeless people across Hanover, St. James and Westmoreland over the weekend. Now, he told CVM News that this street is his way of giving back to his community and Western Jamaica.
Always giving back. We don't have a time frame on it. You know, whenever the opportunity presents itself and we can give back, we just give back. You understand? It's not like the world, but you know, we just give what we can. And we just encourage everybody just to see them, just do what you can, uplift one person. You know, it's not about trying to uplift the whole nation at one time. It's uplifting one person each time you can and getting back one person back on their feet and make them feel like human. You understand?
It's time for a break, but stay with us. Our live interview comes up next.
Welcome to Deposit Insurance in a Minute. JDIC provides deposit insurance to each depositor based on their ownership category, up to 1.2 million at each bank and building society.
So what that mean now? What it means is deposits in each bank are insured separately, up to $1.2 million, and deposits in different ownership categories,
such as individual accounts, business accounts, joint accounts, and trust and nominee accounts, are also insured separately in each bank.
So wait, if me open my account in a two different bank, the two of them cover 1.2 million each?
That is it. Even if you plan for open two different categories of accounts,
like one individual and one business account in the same bank,
JDIC insures them separately under the deposit insurance scheme.
That's how deposit insurance works.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Get tiles and get creative with your floors, walls, and all the spaces in between. Our knowledgeable sales consultants are happy to help create your beautiful finish with the latest designs in first quality porcelain, wood look, vinyl, mosaics, natural stones, and countertops. At Creative, you will get every tile you need for your residential or commercial projects. Creative Building Finishes, your one-stop shop for everything tiles. Visit our showroom at 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get creative.
Tired of the high interest rates and the whole heap of loan payments every month? Take a debt consolidation loan from AIM to pay credit card bills and all other high interest rate loans from other institutions. Make one low monthly payment to AIM and take home some extra money in your pocket. That's financial freedom. One loan, one low payment, more money in your pocket. Call AIM today to lower your loan payment. And remember, you won't find a better deal elsewhere. Guaranteed.
Welcome back to CVM News at Noon. Now, a video showing a police officer removing what appeared to be a magazine from the back of a vehicle has gone viral on social media and is raising concerns in the public domain. Now, the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, recently revealed that scores of citizens have reported police planting guns or firearm paraphernalia, sparking public discussion about accountability, discipline, and trust in law enforcement. Joining us now for this conversation is attorney at law and Jamaicans for Justice spokesman John Clark. But before we hear from Mr. Clark, we want our viewers to take a look at a video that we will be showing a little later on in the segment. But Mr. Clark, you've seen this video. Your reaction since our viewers aren't able to see it just yet, can you describe what you saw in that video and from a viewer perspective, what you understood from the video?
Before I describe what I saw, what one can see in the video, it's important to know that I cannot say to what extent the video may have been tampered with or to what extent what I'm viewing is a contemporaneous, meaning a true recording of exactly what took place in the order that it took place. But what I saw in the video, which seemed to have been a social media posting, were young men who were expressing concerns that police officers may have deliberately placed certain magazine clip in a vehicle. And what I could see from the video, which was a bit strange, was the officer going back into the same vehicle and taking up the clip, which seemed to be, based on what we're seeing on the video, underneath a bag. Why this video is concerning is that many citizens would have, as displayed in the Indicom report, made complaints that police officers may have planted weapons on various scenes, especially in scenarios where persons are killed. And what this video does is that it provides fodder for persons who may very well want to distrust the police. And it is hoped that the relevant authorities, whether it is the investigative Indicom or the police own iProbe, will do its own a quick investigation and ensure the public is kept apprised as to what are the true facts in relation to the relevant incident as much as possible. But what it also bears reporting is the need for body-worn cameras to be utilized by all police officers and how those independent footage could provide assistance to good officers in clearing their names from allegations like this, and could also provide a mechanism by which the JCF can weed out persons who do not deserve to be wearing the uniforms.
So, Mr. Clark, if the video is authentic, what are the possible ramifications for the officers involved?
If the video is authentic, and what I mean by authentic, I mean that it demonstrates clearly what is done, and it's also demonstrated that those officers intended to plant the weapon against the officer, then one would hope that the relevant authorities will carry out the requisite step to have those officers who would have been held by a fair process to be liable, have those officers properly disciplined and, if possible, removed from the JCF. Because all we need is one or two bad eggs to ruin the name of the JCF. And what I noticed, and this is concerning to us as JFJ, is that in many of the cases that we have police-involved killings, citizens will complain that officers would have acted in a manner which is not in keeping with the good name of the JCF. And there is no mechanism in many of these cases for us to have independent videos to either disprove the account of the citizens or to support the account of the police. So what is important, what is to be lauded, is that these citizens seem to have videoed their encounter, and it don't seem, from what I have seen, that the officers who were on the scene took any actions to prevent the videoing of the material search. And in those circumstances, we're seeing, which is unusual, the video recording of the search. And what one would hope is that the JCF would make it quite clear.
All right, Mr. Clark, so just to allow our viewers to be on the same page that we are, let's have them look at the video right about now.
Just check if noise in our
From a legal standpoint, Mr. Clark, how serious, though, is an allegation of planting evidence, and what kind of proof would be needed to bring charges? Mr. Clark, you appear to be muted.
No, so ultimately, thanks. Ultimately, it is a very serious charge, and why it is very serious because it can have ramification not only for the officers involved, whether the charge is true or not, but for the name of the JCF as an organization, and it can also have ramification for other cases. Because I, for one, have a case where and I've been aware of cases where citizens would say that officers would have planted things. And then when one sees videos like this, it begs the question as to whether or not the stories that are demonstrated in the COM report about videos being planted, about things being planted, whether those stories are true. And what it does is that it breeds distrust for the JCF, and in our fight against crime, any element of distrust which is unwarranted is something that we can do without as a nation.
So are there any clients you're representing right now who, has this as a concern?
Well, to be quite frank, when citizens are charged, the person say many things, and what these videos do is that it leads to questions in my mind, and perhaps may lead to questions in the judge's mind and juror's mind as to what extent